A great example of a verse in the Bible that, when taken out of context, can lead people to some very illogical conclusions about the character of God is Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. It reads, and it's the Lord speaking here. Let's keep it in context. The Lord is speaking, and he's saying, I form light and create darkness. I bring success and make disaster. Now, when the Lord is speaking and saying that he brings disaster as well as success, or the word there is actually bara. That word is a word that can also be interchangeably used for evil. It's just a general word that means something bad, right? So some people will try to take this out of context and say that the Lord is claiming to be the creator of evil in this verse. That's not what this verse is saying. We have to read the Bible in context if we want to understand it clearly. The Bible is a series of 66 books, but they are coherent, and they have many cross references between all of those books. So, reading the Bible in context, let's think about what the Lord is saying here. Many places in the Old Testament, Isaiah included, the Lord talks about bringing blessings to people who act righteously, bringing blessings to people who have faith in God. And many times in the Old Testament, it talks about the Lord bringing disaster and calamity to people who are working evil. And the Lord has to do that in many cases, especially in the Old Testament, because of the amount of evil that's being done. And God is just. He wants to make sure that the world is rid of evil. And that's why Jesus ultimately came and sacrificed himself for every single human to be able to free themselves from this evil. And not only do that, but preach and teach people that message of God's love so that more and more souls can be saved and more goodness can be enacted on this earth. And I think we see that in the early Roman Empire when the first followers of Jesus were building hospitals, and they were saving babies from being abandoned, and they were accepting of slaves and all races and denominations of people, you know. And you study the radical change that took place after the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and you see that ultimately the door was swung right wide open for women, children, and women's rights, children's rights, and all rights between human races. So it's powerful stuff. So Jesus obviously is this God. I believe that Jesus is the same God who brings calamity to evildoers because he's a just God. And that's all this verse is saying. You cannot take this out of context. We have to read it in the context of the chapter that we're reading it in. And if you look at that chapter 45, he is talking about bringing calamity to evildoers as well as blessing to righteous people. So we need to keep our heads straight and make sure that we're reading before and after the verses that we're looking at, and that we are actually, we're not blowing things out of proportion, right? So thanks for watching this video. Stay blessed, everybody.